What's going on, guys? Let me know. Let me know if the audio quality is all right. Let me see. Let me know. Yeah, it's pretty good. All right, yeah, because I have my microphone like kind of far away from my face, but I turned up the gain on it, so it should work. Going a little bit earlier than I normally would, but that is because I'm gonna be kind of busy today, actually. So yeah, gonna be a little bit busy today. Not sure if I was gonna be able to do this later. So that's why we're doing it right now. And plus, I'm still testing out to figure out when's the best time for you guys to actually get some of these live streams, because I know it's not practical for everybody, especially my audience out there in India. What's going on, Tiago? We're about to get into it very soon. Right now, I'm just setting up all the screens so that we could take a look at what we're doing here. Gonna do our we're gonna be working on our vapor stuff today. Working on. I think that we are going to be able to get to the controllers today, guys. Start adding controllers. What's going on, Harshal? Today's plan. Yeah, like I just said, I think we're gonna try to get to the controllers today for our Vapor backend. Last time we left off on like doing some. Oh, we have to cover some of the validation. That's what we have to do. But yeah, maybe we can get to the controllers. We might be able to make it. We'll see where we can go. What's going on, Islam, Nazir? I don't know if I said that right. I saw some of your videos. It's amazing. Yeah, thanks, man. The entire process is it's a long, boring one. It's not until you actually get into your zone. Like I won't really be like going crazy until we really get into some of this code. Maybe we could get into some of that code today, but yeah, definitely it's a long, boring process at first, and then it just slowly gets easier, better. It's more fun to do. And yeah, so right now I'm looking for our Hub.io app, and because I moved around like a lot of my files, and I'm just looking for it so that we can get started, guys. I'm live with you today, fam. What's up, Hawkfly and Harshal? What's going? I am basically from India and now working in Malaysia. You and your group from the giveaway. I follow all of you guys on YouTube. Yeah, thanks for following us on YouTube. You guys are the reason that we're able to do all this stuff. So yeah, I mean we're here to support y'all, help y'all out. Damn, guys, where did I put it? Where did I put it? Let me just Hub.io. There it is. Found it. Server. Okay, I'm about to switch over to my screen so you guys can just stop looking at my stupid face. But yeah, Summit Kapoor, what's going on, Kilo? Love what you're doing, man. Keep learning us. Yeah, I'm gonna keep learning you. Bharat Modi. Hi, Kilo. What's up? What's going on, man? Triago. I've been receiver of the notification YouTube now from Brazil. So what kind of app is building? This is kind of like a meetup.com app. I'm gonna do a brief overview. Thanks, Harshal. Let me switch over so that you guys can actually see my screen, so that we can do it live. Let's do the screen share. I'm gonna get a little bit of Inception, just like usual. Oh, hey guys, I've been buying like all kinds of crazy stuff for the channel. So hopefully the quality of the content, the quality of my production quality goes up. I'm hoping. So I'm hoping that you guys get like better better picture. Like I bought a webcam that's supposed to give me HD, so you don't have to look at this dirty 1080 or 720p. You can look at some beautiful 1080p Kyle's face. So yeah. All right, so let's just go back over the app. So we're gonna have some onboarding, obviously, and then the login and sign up and stuff like that, right? So like I said, the app is essentially, you know, it's going to be like a meetup.com. All we want to do is we want to have events up in here. I know it's kind of small for you guys. We're going to have events up in here, and then you can follow an event or like, you know, a language, or it's just going to be like a social network. And then you can schedule events, have some type of activity, have, you know, talk to other people, and then this will be your profile or something like that. You are doing great. Where am I? I live in the United States, California, Los Angeles area. And then if you're familiar with the Los Angeles area, I live in Azusa, which is a terrible city. It's a terrible city. It's kind of ghetto. All right, guys. So let's go back and review what we did last time. Last time we made our user model. Let's see, because I honestly don't remember. It feels like forever since I did this thing. We have this initializer. This is probably going to go away sometime soon. As you can see, we're initializing a user object with some JSON. We got our field length validator in here. This is going to change today. We got to change that to be like there's a better way to do. Well, we're going to subclass that field length validator, because the only one that we really want field length on is maybe let's see, which one are we using? Field length. Yeah, the only one that we really want the field length to be on is probably the password, because that's actually user input, and we don't want them to put in like a 500 character password. Okay. Book or online course, which one is better? That depends on your learning style. Usually I'll like to give you like a straightforward answer and say, bam, online learning course, do the online learning course. It's way better. I can't say that because that actually does depend on your learning style. It depends on how you learn. Do you like to actually hear and see stuff, or are you really good at reading comprehension? So that's very important that you understand about yourself before you get a real answer. Hold on, I'm gonna get to you guys' questions. Let me just get back to where we're at, and then like when I'm doing the boring stuff, I'll answer the questions. So field length validator, we're gonna update that today. And then, yeah, we should be able to return our user object properly, because if we take a look at it, where is it? Field length validator. So we're gonna subclass this, and we're going to create one that's just going to be like for our names, to make sure that we only enter like valid characters. And I have that done somewhere on my actual app. I have to find it. Hold on, guys. I gotta open up my app for reference, because this is what we do. This is what we do. We open. This is what senior programmers do. They just look at their old stuff and they're like, how did I do that again? Oh yeah, that's right. That's how I did that. And that's the benefit of having work experiences, because now you can just look back on what you were doing. Okay, so let me find it real quick so that you guys aren't just staring at a blank screen or whatever. I don't want you guys staring at nothing for too long. Alrighty. Y'all can't look at that. That's all my production level code. You're gonna get the production level stuff over here, but not on my platform stuff. Sorry. All right, so let me see. Where did I put it? We want field validation. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Yeah, so essentially what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a new file in here. It's going to subclass from field validation, and we're going to call it name validatable, because what we want to do is, if you look at the user object, we don't want just the length to be in here, because a username probably shouldn't have like a question mark or like, you know, an asterisk or anything weird. You know, same thing goes for the full name. You probably don't want any of those weird characters in there. Password should be fine. We could just kind of leave it how it is. But username and full name, probably not. So let's let's create a new file in our models. And this one, I'm going to call it name validatable or name validation. Let's call it name validation. Name validation. Oh, also, I've been putting out like different types of content. Have you guys been looking at it? Is it better? Are things getting better? I hope they're getting better. This is going to be a final class because field. Let's see. Name validation. We're probably not going to override it. So yeah, I'm going to just mark it as final. Final class. Name validation. And this is going to subclass from field length validation. And we may need to import validation, the validation framework that we added last time. Validation. Right? Okay, so the awesome thing about this is now it's subclass from field validation, which we made. We get all the awesome characters that we had before, or awesome, checking that we had before, but we're also going to add to it. So what we want is to make sure that we only have valid characters. Now, don't hate me for this, guys, but right now we're only going to have alphanumeric characters, and it's going to be English characters. I still haven't looked into this too much on how to do it for like other languages, but I'll definitely get to that someday, and maybe we'll learn it on here together. So so far we're still covering the stuff that I actually know, and then if I run into a roadblock, you're going to go with me through the entire process of figuring out like a problem. So yeah. All right, guys, hold on. Let me make sure I can do this. Okay, so we're going to look for valid characters, and this is just going to be a string. And what we're going to do is just going to say A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. That should be everything. We want numbers 1 through 9 or 0 through 9. And then we also want to allow spaces. So essentially what we want we only want a name to be able to consist of these characters, or else you can't put it in there. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to put whatever's coming into lowercase so that we don't have to type out all this stuff again, but uppercase, you know what I mean? Because that would be annoying. So in my production code, I actually put access level identifiers all over the place. So I'm actually going to do that for you guys. And if you guys have a question about that, I have a video on access control. But yeah, so you can check out the video. But yeah, if you have any questions about it, I can also answer it in here too. So we're going to just have a function in here that's going to be called isValid. That's going to override our field. Our field length validation is valid. So we're going to do this, but override it. And is valid. And this is going to, once again, take in a value. That's going to be a bool. Or no, not a bool. It's going to be a string, but it's going to return a bool, right? And like so, let me just make sure that I did that right. Is valid bool string. Yeah, okay. All right, so what we really want to do is, one, we want to make sure that we still keep the field length validation functionality of the isValid method. And the way that we're going to do that is we're just going to say guard super dot isValid. Is valid. Okay, we're going to have to do a build right now because it's not giving us the syntax highlighting. And then what we're going to pass in is the value right here. So, well, let me continue doing this. Else return false. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to make sure that it still is valid before we even move forward. So like the field length validation has to be valid, right? It has to be in between whatever whatever number of characters, right? So I think we have it set as 3 and 30 to the default. So a minimum of 3, maximum of 30. So this has to be true, or else you can't move forward. So that's keeping up with the the previous implementation, which is in field length validation back over here, right here, 21 through 28. Now, this stuff I really don't like not having syntax highlighting. So let's just go ahead and build that. Actually, I don't even know where this project is. Let's find out where this thing actually is. We can do that right here. Users, KL Learning. I looked for Hub.io under KL Learning. That's where I learn you. Come on, guys. Should have told me it's under KL Learning. Come on, man. I know. I messed up. So, just in case you guys want to see this. Change directory, desktop, KL Learning, right? Hub.io. Nope, not capital. Hub.io. And then Hub.io server. And then what happened? Oh, I didn't even do anything. CD, Kyle, come on, man. Come on, man. Do Vapor Xcode -y, which will give us our syntax highlighting back, which will be awesome. Okay, so going back to your guys' messages, let's see. You're doing a great job. Thanks, guys. Book or online course, I already answered that. Yes, heard about LAPD in many movies. Yeah, man. It's pretty bad over here, but luckily our president has taken away from all that drama and just made the country worse overall. So that's pretty cool, right? All right, and we're getting an error right here, so we just want to return true for right now. Actually, it's going to change, but yeah, true for right now. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to actually loop through each. We want to loop through each of these, each of the characters that's coming in for the value. And what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that our valid characters contains that character that we're specifically on. So the way that we're going to do this is we're going to say value, and then we're going to set it to lowercase, because once again, if they enter in capital, it wouldn't work. So lowercase. And then we're going to just say for each character, right? We're going to just do some stuff for each. And yeah, you're just saying need at least one argument. Yeah, for each. So what we want to do is we're going to check the valid characters to make sure that it contains that character. So what we'll do is we'll just say if it let's do, yeah, so guard let valid characters dot contains, and this is going to be $0 that else return, I think this is what we want. Guard let else, guard valid characters. Yeah, just like that, valid characters. And this is actually is this referring to self? I think that is referring to self, right? It would be an instance of this object. So if this is referring to self, then we need to make it, add a a capture list. So we need to make self weak because we don't want all that bad stuff to happen. So weak, and then we put this in. Okay. Right. I think that'll work. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to get a strong self. Ha ha ha. Kyle, you so crazy. You so crazy. All right. Oh, we got a couple of people going on. Go with both simultaneously. Yeah, that can work. It's on you which one you get more. Yeah, that's true. What's going on? Elizy? I'm sorry. You already know your boy can't speak. Miss Crystal, what's going on? Hawkfly. They are. I'm a fan of the longer videos, but I definitely dig this stuff. First time drop in. What's going on, Lee John? All right. So once again, let's keep going. Let's keep going. We're gonna say let strong self equals self, and then we'll put a comma, and then we'll say strong self right here. And then that should be good, right? I think so. Yeah, and since we're doing since we're doing it like this, we might as well just put character up here, right? And give it a name instead of using $0 just to make it a little bit more readable. Contains character. Right. Okay. So this should work. Anonymous closer. Yeah. Okay. So this should work. So, okay. So let's think about what we want to do. We actually want to make sure that we can capture if this is true or not. So what we're going to do is we actually want something outside here to actually be able to capture that value after it does the loop. And then we're going to use that value because we want to make sure that the characters are valid. And we're just going to say yes until we find something that says no. So once we loop through, and then if it says no, that's when we're actually going to return false. Okay, so yeah, so what we want to do, I know that probably didn't make sense. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that characters are valid, right? And we're gonna start off by saying, yeah, that's true. Characters are valid, and then we want to change this to the opposite. So if it's false, right? Because if it is valid and it does contain it, right? If the valid characters up here contains that character, then we don't need to go any further because we know that it's in there. We know that it's true. It should work. But if it doesn't contain it, which means that it's not one of these, then that's when we want to move forward and we want to set this variable to be false. So let's go ahead and do that. Char factors are valid is equal to false. And that will only happen when it's looping through and it finds something. Okay, perfect. So now what we want to do is we want to return characters. Come on, Kyle, learn how to spell, man. Char factors are valid. All right, so yeah, all right, so that should be it. Actually, there's one other problem. So like, let's say since we're allowing space, because I want a name to be able to have a space in it, because we're using full name. If we go over here and we look at our models, we're using full name. Now, obviously your full name is going to have a space in it because you're not going to put your full name in just like one, you're not going to just put it all in one line. It's not going to be like this. Like, that's not how I would write in my full name. I'd write it in like that, right? So what we want to do is we want to allow spaces, which is why I added it right here. I mean, as a matter of fact, they actually have alphanumeric. There's already a class that has alphanumeric in it, and it does essentially this. But what I wanted to do was I wanted to add the space in there, but they don't allow spaces on alphanumeric. So that was becoming a problem, which is why we're doing this by ourselves. Now, also, we don't want to have a million spaces like this, right? Like, because that wouldn't be the right way to have a username. So we only want to allow one space. And the way that we're going to do that is we're just going to make sure that they can't have double spacing. So let no double spacing equals, okay, does the value dot contains, and we're going to say double space. So we're going to say no double spacing, so it's false. So contains double spacing, and then essentially we're saying does not contain double spacing, right? So that would be true. So we're going to say characters are valid and no double spacing. All right, perfect. So now what we can do, we should be able to actually create a new validator and use that back over here, like the bosses that we are, right, guys? Right. So now we're going to use that same thing that we just made, and we're going to use it on our names. So let's go ahead and we'll do. Wait a minute. Aren't I missing something? What the hell? Do you guys see the problem here? Somebody better see the problem. The problem here is that we don't have an address. We need an email address, guys. And the reason why we want email addresses is because it will help us market to those users later. You know how you guys get spam email? Well, we're not going to be spamming people, but you know, if there's a new update, then we can reach out to them. If they forget their password, we can send it to their email. There's a lot of benefits to having an email address. So let's go ahead and add an email address. And do we want our email address to be updatable? Let's say for right, are you usually able to change your email? Let's say for right now, we want it to stay the same. Email, and that will be of type string. I think that will be fine. So now we actually have to go back and fix everything. Static let email, and that's going to be email. Oh, goodness, Kyle, how did you mess this up? No idea, man. I have no idea. Email, string, and then self.email is equal to email. Let's see. Do we have any questions over here? What's the difference between internal and private functions? Internal and private are just access control. Internal you can use pretty much throughout your project, and private you can usually only use within that one class. So that's the difference. Like you wouldn't be able to use it in other places. Hold on, I'll probably talk a little bit more about it after this. Hold on. Email is equal to email, but we have to actually parse that out. So let's go ahead and cover one of the other validators, which will be in here. So what we're going to do is we're going to say let email give type string, and we'll pull it out of our JSON. We're going to say JSON.get, and it's going to be keys dot email. So that'll pull it out of the JSON. But now what we want to do is we wanted to actually do there's something called email validator, and let's see, we're gonna actually have to, let me find it. Let's take a look at it because I have to figure out how I want to do this. Where are you? Validation, yeah, right here. validation, and then we have, or maybe it's validation provider. Where are they? Convenience. This looks a lot different than what I remember. Validation provider either nor validators. Validatable. Let's see. There's one called like email validation. If I could find the alphanumeric, I'll be able to find that, but I don't see it. Alphanumeric. Okay, so email is right here. All right, so as you can see, they put in the what they're doing is they're using regex to pretty much validate your email so that you don't have to do that. Like everybody always like copies and pastes the regex in there, and yeah, see, regex, regular expression. And they pretty much added that in there for you. So what we're going to do is we have validate right here, right? But what we want to do is we actually want to extend the email validator and give that extra functionality, because we don't want to use validate because it doesn't work. Like look at so it says validate and it throws, right? Which, I mean, you could kind of use it, but the way that we're handling it is in a guard statement, and we're just looking for conditionals. So we want to actually have a Boolean returned as opposed to just throwing, and then we'll handle the error ourselves instead of saying input is not a valid email address. We'll handle it ourselves just the way that we did with everything else. So let's go ahead, go to our models, new file, and this one's going to be email validation extension. Email validation extension. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to import the what is it, validation? Yeah, import validation. Okay, so we're gonna import validation, and then we want to extension email validator, like so, and then we're just gonna add our is valid function essentially to it. Like we're gonna just pretty much take this, right? And we want it to essentially have the same signature. That's why I put it in there, but we're not gonna have the same functionality in there. And then we're gonna take our value, and what we're gonna do, hold on, let me look at my other code because I want to make sure that I do this right. I don't want to spend too much time on this. Yeah, so it's, yeah, so remember that it throws, so it's a do catch, right? And then what we're gonna do is we're just gonna try to make our email validator. So email validator, like so. And then it has a validate on it. Remember that function that I just showed you? We're going to put in our value, right? So if it proceeds after this, that means that it works, right? So if it works, then we could just say return true. But if it fails, if it tries and it catches an error, then it's just going to return false. We're not going to even error handle any of that because we don't need that error. We're going to be handling the error ourselves. We don't need you. We ain't need you. Right? We ain't need you. So yeah, that should work. And that will allow us to go back over to our user object. We'll say we'll do it like this. We'll say email validator, right, dot is valid, and then we'll enter email like so. And then the last thing that, do we need to do a last thing? Oh no, we don't need a last thing. So is valid, and then else we're just going to throw our abort with our awesome custom error message handling. So .bad. Oh, we did it like invalid. Abort.invalid. Invalid email address. Right. So that should work. We're not importing the validation, so that actually won't work. So we have to import validation. Validation, like so. So that will give us access to the email validator. Has no member is valid. Well, actually, it kind of does. So in order to fix that, once again, Vapor Xcode Y. All right, back to your questions. What's the difference? Yeah, so internal, like I said, I have a video on it, but essentially internal functions like, okay, like maybe if you saw my singletons, right? My singletons video, you would have like a private initializer. So it'd be like init like that. And then like this, you could make it, froze on me. And I would say private just so that you can't use the default initializer like this anywhere outside of this class. But if it was internal like that, that means I'd be able to use it within this class and outside of it as well. So that's the difference. James Kim, you sound surprisingly sleepy today. Yeah. Running on like 4.5 hours of sleep. And it's extremely, well, it's not extremely early. I got up at 5, which is, I mean, I get up at 5 on the normal, but it's just tired, man. And I didn't have my coffee today. Damn, I didn't have my coffee today. I'm trying to get away from all those bad habits, guys. I don't want to be having a terrible diet and also have terrible workout habits because I don't work out. It's turning into a fat ass. All right. So now we're just gonna update all these to have the email as well. Self.email, like so. Builder, now we're going to be adding it to our database. This may actually cause us a problem, but we'll get to that. Oh no, we're not working. Yeah, okay. We're not working with the actual database yet, and this is why, because we have all kinds of things that will be changing. Okay, so far so good. Everything should be working. Let's see what else. We want to go to our routes, make sure that the routes aren't all jacked up because now we have a new parameter. Nope, we're already using the JSON, which is perfect. Perfectamente. All right, so that should be our that's our email validator. Now we need to actually implement our name validator that we never implemented. So let name validation equals name validate. What did I call it? Validation or validator? Name validation, like so. So now on our username, what we want to do is we want to put name validation dot is valid, right? Is valid. Yeah, that should work. And then we'll put it right here for full name and full name validation, like so. And I think that's gonna work. I think that'll work. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this baby. Let's see if it works. Open up our rested app, get everything all working and stuff. This is going to be a post request. And JSON encoded, of course, because we love JSON, duh. So username, gonna be kilo logo. Password will be pass123. Let's see what else. Full name. Okay. full name is going to be, come on, Kyle Lee, like so. And email will be, come on, is going to be Kyle@kiloloco.com. And then lastly, we have the avatar name. So avatar name, like that. And then we're going to have avatar name, say like image.jpg, right? Now we just want to go back over to our routes, make sure which route we're going to call. As we can see down here, this is all working. Let's go to our routes, see what we called our route. It's called user, it's a post, and let's do that, user. So if we say user, post, bam, look at that, 200 came back. All right, so something's missing. Our email is missing, but that's because we have it like this. So yeah, we need to make our user JSON representable, which will allow us to return an actual user object, which will be a lot better. But let's first test out our name validator. So this worked so far, right? So we should be able to add it. And then once again, since our username is a field, if we try to do KI, since it's not meeting our requirement of having 3 characters, this should fail, right? So this is an invalid username. Please enter a valid username to continue. So that's working. Also, want to make sure that Kilo works. Yes, it works as expected. But now what we want to do is we want to put a number, 55, right? Hold on, didn't press enter. Now press enter. Okay, so Kilo 5, yeah, so that works, but this should not work, right? So because that's a special character, exclamation point, it's not in there, and invalid username. So we're getting that back. Okay, so it's working so far on the username. Now we just want to check the email address. So if we just take out the @, that will be able to tell us if it works or not. Let's fix our username because it didn't get that far yet. So Kilo 56 and invalid email address. There we go. Perfect. So this is working so far. We got it working. That's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to me. Cool in my eyes. And all right. So the next thing that I want to do is I want to make our user JSON. We want to make our user object something called JSON representable, and that's just going to make it so much easier to return our user object. So we can just say like .make JSON on our user, and essentially that will actually return our user object in all the fields the way that we specify which fields that we want to come back. So let's go over to our user, and we're going to go, I like to put this one in an extension by itself because it is a different protocol, and we'll just say extension like so. We can extend our user, and it's called JSON representable. I'm a very auditory learner, so I have to like sound it out loud and stuff like that. Sorry, guys. So we have this. Oh, what is that? McDirty, bro. I've never even seen that. That sounds sexy. McDirty, bro. I love it. So we're gonna use this this function right here, make JSON. And what it will do is, obviously, it's giving us a make JSON function on our user object. But all we have to do is say var JSON is equal to JSON, like so. Create a JSON object and return, obviously, that same JSON object because that's what it's expecting right here. But then what we want to do, since this is a function that's actually on an instance of a user, what we're going to do is we're going to grab each of those keys and put them in. So we'll say try JSON dot set, and then this is going to be keys dot ID. Keys.id, yeah, because we want the ID of the user, right? And the ID is a special one because it's in the storage, right? It's actually the storage. So in order to make that work, what we're going to do is we're going to say dot wrapped, like so. And that'll give us back our ID. Kind of weird stuff. JSON.set. And we're going to say keys dot full name, and that's obviously going to be our full name. Yay, boring stuff. Yay. Not var. I meant to say try. JSON dot set keys. What else is there? We have the full name, username. Okay. Dot username. And we're going to return our username. And actually, I want to switch the order. I want to keep it in the same order. Now, we don't want the password to come back, right? So, like, if you're working with a bunch of user objects and you're going to be passing around the same specific user, like the same user object all over the place, there's some stuff that you don't want to pass around, and that would obviously be the password, because, like, what happens if somebody, like, hacked your shit and then you know, now they can see everybody's password? That would just not be good. So we're not going to pass in the password in our JSON. So yeah, I mean, that's the way I think about it. So avatar name, oh, set, come on, Kyle, I'm gonna set it. Keys dot avatar name. Come on. And try JSON dot set keys dot email. Bam, 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 and that's going to be the email. So obviously JSON representable is response representable, which means that we can return this function on what's going on here, on the route, by just saying try make JSON. So let's go over to our routes. And you see all this right here? Yeah, we ain't doing that no more. Get that out of here. And now what we do is we just say return try our user dot make JSON like that. And voila. Wow, isn't that beautiful? It's so damn beautiful, Kilo. I love it. Yeah, I know. Me too. All right. So let's go ahead and run this. Let's run it. And we go back over here and we have all the same information in there. We're just going to say yes, send it up. Bam, look at that. So now we get an ID, which is pretty cool. Full name, username, avatar name, email, like so. And actually, if we were to press this again, because we don't have anything checking against it, what we'll do is we'll send it again and we'll get ID of 2. So now we have 2 users in there. And then remember that we have this other route, which will show all the users. And that's a get one. So we'll just make a new window. 8080. All users, like so. We're going to post. Bam. Send it up. Send it up. No, not post, Kyle. Come on. It's a get. It's a get, man. There are 2 users. Oh, well, that's not fun. Let's fix that too. All. Okay, so now we have users. Users dot make JSON. I think this will work. And try. See, so before we had to just return the count, but now we should be able to return all the users. So let's go ahead and do that again. Let's run it. Build succeeded. All right, so now if we do this, we should return an empty array, right? So as expected, there's nothing in there right now because we just restarted it. So, excuse me, my goodness. We got kilo logo, and we're gonna just send that up. That should be the user ID 1, right? Kilo logo. And then we have another user, we'll call him Capalima. And his name is Jamal Garcia. And also Jamal at Kilo Logo. Right? And we send that up. And now we got user ID 2. But now when we go back over here and we do send request, look at that. We're getting an array of users. Now this is where stuff starts getting super interesting, because this is something that you would actually work with in your iOS project on the client side. This is something that you would actually work with, which I think is pretty cool. So that is done and out the way. And actually what we would probably do is, more realistically, this would just be called users. Both of these endpoints would be called users. So I'm gonna just change that real quick. Users, like so. All right, so we did that. Now it's response representable, and yeah, I think the next thing that we want to do is probably, I'm thinking that we're probably going to want to create a controller, right? Yeah, I think we can probably create a controller really quickly. All right, yeah. So let's just go ahead and create a controller. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go up to the top to where it says controllers, and where are you? Where are you, buddy? Hold on, guys. Still, where is it? Where is my controllers? I'm looking for the group. I lost the group first. Somehow I lost that group. Is it in here? Controllers, it's right here. There it is. Wasn't working for some reason. All right, so now we want a new file, and this one's gonna be called user controller. All right, so what we're gonna do is, this is gonna be an internal, and it's gonna we're gonna make it a struct, and we're gonna call it user controller. Right. Now, generally what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to have a function in here called add routes. So internal function add routes, and this is going to be what's going to handle all the different routes for our users, our user object. Now, let's create a group, and it will essentially, it's going to group all of our routes with like significant keywords. So it'd be like user or users or posts or you know, messages or something like that. So the way that we're going to do it is we actually want to group them. Actually, we're going to need a drop. So let's initialize this with a drop, because we want to keep reference to our drop and not be pulling drops out of thin air. So we'll say private, because we don't want anybody to access our drop anywhere else, really. If we're going to be using it, dependency injection is the way. But we're going to have a droplet, and to have a droplet, you need to import Vapor. So now, we want to have an initializer, init, And you're gonna initialize this with a drop, and it's gonna be of type droplet. And we're just gonna say self.drop is equal to drop, like so. This is also internal. And that will allow us to create a user controller, but we're not getting syntax highlighting. It's about that time for Vapor Xcode Y. Could you explain getters and setters? Yeah, sure. While we're waiting for this to finish, a getter is essentially how let's see. I haven't really sat down and thought about how I would explain it, but a getter is essentially what you're going to be returning for that computed property, right? So you have a computed property and it has get. Sometimes you'll just see a computed property and it'll say just return, like let's say there's a string. It'll just say return test, right? The string that says test. Now that's your getter. It has this like the property that's computed on the inside. Now the set is going to be what you would actually be setting. So whenever you try to set that getter and setter property, that computed property to something, what it's going to do is it's going to take that new value, and what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to update some type of stored value with that getter and setter. I'll put an entire video on it, but because this is not the place to do it. But I hope that kind of gives you a better idea of what it is. All right, so going back over here, we have add routes. So we're going to create a group, and the way that we do sorry guys, I'm still sick. Damn. So we're going to grab our drop, and we're going to say drop.grouped grouped. And notice that we can put in middleware, and we're going to be actually adding middleware in a little while. But first, I want to get this. I want to get everything up and running before we start adding middleware. So then we're going to choose paths, and what we'll do is we'll say every time that we want to touch the API and we want to do anything, we'll just say API like so, right? And then if we want to access the users, what we'll do is say users like so. So this means that it's essentially setting up, it's giving us the functionality of being able to say, like, we want to say kiloloco.com/API/users, and that's going to be for the users API. And then we would do the same thing with each and every object. We have a group, and now what we want to do is we want to use our group, and we want to say when you call get on that group, what we're going to do is we're going to say what handler is going to be used to handle our get request. So what we need to do is let's actually create a new function down here, our handler method, and this will be a private function, and we're just going to say this is going to be get all users, right? Which is essentially what we have on the other screen. And we also want to make sure that this throws just like everything else in Vapor does, so that we get that automatic 404 or 400 message. And then we also want to make sure that we're returning something response representable, right? Representable, just like our routes do back over here in the routes folder. So if we go over here, routes, and this is all the functionality that we really want for all the users. So we'll just copy that functionality and we'll put it right here. So now we have a handler that will get all the users. So when we do get on API/users, we do get all users. So I think that'll work. We might need to mark it with try. I can't remember. No, it should work. I think. Throws representable, cannot convert this to that. Well, why not? Oh, because it needs to take in a request. That's why. Let me see. How did they do it? Yeah, request. So we need a request underscore. We'll just say rec, and it's going to be of type request. Yeah, we're going to need that for like the posts and stuff. So request, right? So then this should work now. Okay, so now we have that route, and now we also want to add our create user, right? So we'll have another private function that will be create user, and once again, this is going to take in a request, rec like that, request. Actually, let's spell this out. I feel like rec is kind of confusing. Request, rows, response representable, response presentable, like so. And then we're just going to take that other functionality that we had in our routes, and we're going to do that. Yeah. So now take that, paste it like that, and that should work. We're no longer inside the droplet extension. So instead of using self, what we would do is we'd actually use the drop. Drop it low, girl. Okay, so now what we can do is we can add that as the post. So group dot post, and the handler will be create user. So just like that. Okay, so now what we can do is we go back over to our routes, and we want to delete this, right? We don't need this anymore. We already, that's essentially what we just replaced. But what we have to actually do is we have to create that user controller so that we can use it. So let user controller equals user controller, and we're going to create this with a drop, and we're inside the actual droplet, so we'll just create it with ourselves, and then we'll say user controller dot add routes. So now it's just running this, it's running the routes, and yeah, now it's observing for those routes. So if we go ahead and run this, we're gonna have some magic happening, guys. Making the magic happen today. Making the magic happen today. So it's running. So now notice that this will no longer work, right? We actually replace this, right? So if we do this, 404 not found, right? And the same thing goes for users, right? Not found. Because what happened is if we go over here to our controller, you can see once again we're looking for API, so it'd be /API and then users/users. So if we want to get that functionality back, what we have to do is now we have to say API/users. And now we get that 200 back. See that? Bam, 200. Same thing over here. API/users. And this is a get, so now we should get back our user object. Bam. So yeah. All right. So I think that's that was some pretty good progress. We got to go over the validation. We got to add a controller, which was pretty cool. We updated our model. We're doing big things, real big things, good things, real nice things, right? So I think that's a pretty good place to leave off. Yeah, let me double check our user object. Yeah, I think this is a pretty good place to leave off. We're in a pretty good state. we're making some good progress on our API. Alrighty, guys. So let's see. I don't even know how to get back to you guys. Yeah, I honestly don't even know. I don't even know if I can, if I wanted to. Let's see. Go to Start Hangouts. Okay, got it. Get off of here. And here we go. All right. So that was that was interesting stuff, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, because yeah, it was I don't know. It was the boring app creating process. It's not fun, guys. It's not all fun and games. It's not like easy and just we're gonna code up some awesome stuff instantly and just make an entire app in 20 minutes. Nope, not gonna happen like that. But yeah, thanks for joining me today, guys. I hope that you enjoyed the content. Hope you learned something new today. And I will be seeing you back next week. If you have any questions, make sure you leave a comment below. And interested in talking to me, or going over a bug in your code or something like that, hit me up on Twitter. That's the best place to reach me. And then if you're interested in like my day-to-day life type stuff, then I'll be covering some stuff on, I'll be doing the personal thing on Instagram. So check all that out. Yeah. And have a great rest of the weekend. Keep coding passionately. Later, guys.